Need to get me some clothes in the back room. You got it? Right. You can log in and say hello and get your tablet.
How do I get there?
Open up YouTube.
In your word? Alright.
It's on charge in the back. Yeah,
Where?
over there. Tell her I'm not lying. Thank you.
Right, you don't get it.
I was just playing.
No, you're the liar around here. You don't accuse anybody else. Get it.
Shit. And nail on the carpet, just.
No, there's not.
Oh.
It's in the strip.
That's right, it's in the strip. No, cut it out. You know that your cat monstered me from my lap from on the desk as usual, and I normally got down on the floor and monstered me. When I put him back on the desk, he went around the other side of me, walked over the desk and jumped down and looked on the other side of me and monstered me from my lap.
How's your cat?
You didn't call anybody online. It's your failing, not ours. It's 17 minutes to be back there and done.
Yep.
That includes shaving. Do we have any more shave cream? Did we have in this team?
Okay.
We haven't had any new for like 3 months.
Oh dear. Yes, it is.
I can't hear you. What's the matter? Okay, hello everybody, and just give me a moment to bring up the chat, and I'll be with you. Nothing like running around at the last minute. I know that you were in there, Hugh. That's it, that Remote Pilots Australia guy, that's who we want. And we're going to pop out the chat. Remote Pilots Australia, that's who we want. Okay. I'm not watching if we've got anybody in chat, so I don't know who's there. That's pretty silly, isn't it? Right, yeah. Okay, 3 watching now. So who have we got? Hello, mate. I'll stick a link in there for you, Hugh, if you'd like to join me. Nearly got here in time. Yes, I'm being monstered by my co-pilot here. He's determined to have a lap. And that's my wife you can hear laughing outrageously. Don't worry, you'll get your own. There's a link for you, Hugh, if you'd like to drop in. I suspect that the other 2 watching are my wife and my daughter, although she's currently in Mikey's stream listening to him sing her praises. And you'll excuse me, I hope, while I get this hair out of the way before it dries, or it's a hell of a job. Oh, Ploopy, I'm sorry, buddy. Are you okay? Smacked my cat. Well, my daughter's cat, which is even worse.
Oh.
There, that's one way to get him to leave. His mother's here.
Yeah.
Spud, would you, if you're busy, somebody, could you get my hair out?
The moment he said everything started straight, he jumped on the back of his chair.
Boy. Here's a little attention hug. You're a little attention.
Well, how many you can be heard?
I don't care. Maybe it's a little attention.
I care.
Philly was live, so I went and stalked him for the last 10 minutes of it.
You went and stalked Philly. Okay, that would not be surprised.
He ended his live, so I had to stop stalking.
That's fine. You
Yeah,
should have told him to come and visit us here when he finished.
I got it. Oh no.
Maybe. It's okay. Thank you. If you're still with us, Hugh, feel free to use the link in the chat and drop into the panel.
Yeah, maybe put hair in my mouth.
Thank you, dear. Okay. I don't know how we're going to work tonight. It's not my normal time slot, but we'll see. Move that behind, thank you.
Out of the way.
That's it.
Spud can.
That's it. It's Spud Can.
Spud can. And I look terrible tonight. Oh, well.
That's all right. I'll give it a half an hour. If we don't gain a few, then I'll shut down the stream.
And just pop into chords and say hi.
Sorry?
And then just pop into chords and say hi.
Is he on?
I think.
I don't think he is. It's pretty early for Claude. I'm surprised that Hugh's awake at this time.
He's going to bed.
Is he?
Oh no, sorry, Hugh. I don't know. If
Philly's
Philly's
going to
going
bed. He would have been doing the dawn fight, I suppose.
Yes, he's tired.
Yes, that's right.
I went and stalked him.
You little stalker, you.
Pardon?
You little stalker, you.
Philly is a sexy man, and I'm going to stalk that sexy man until he
Please.
notices me.
Look at the air conditioning running. Be noisy, but there we go. Well, for those of you who may watch later, I'm just going to give it another 15 or 20 minutes to see if we get any takers. If not, I'm going to declare this time zone a non-starter, and I'm going to shut it down.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Ari? Hear you. Oh, that's weird. I can't hear you, but it could be on my end. I just joined.
No, you should hear me now, mate. Sorry, I just had everything locked down while I was adjusting the bit rate to try and get the best possible result on my lousy bandwidth.
Good morning.
And how are you today?
Good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not so bad. A little bit stressed getting here at anything close to time, but I managed it.
Oh, no worries. Good morning, Luna.
That's it.
I was just out getting some breakfast.
Well, you bought breakfast. What are we having today here? It's early for you.
It is. Well, you know what? I've been up all night, on and off. Couldn't sleep for some reason.
You probably caught it off.
What's that, bud?
You probably caught it off me.
Yeah, probably. No, I'm usually pretty good, but for some reason, I just could not sleep very well last night. I actually went to sleep at like 6:30 p.m. and then ended up getting up at like midnight and couldn't get back to sleep. So yeah, I've been hanging around for a while.
That's often a deadly sin, going to bed too early.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I was just exhausted. But anyway, I'm up now.
Yeah, I went right through after we finished last night with Claude and the crew. I mucked around with this and mucked around with that and had a go at getting the live stream up. And then I looked at the clock and it was about 10 minutes before sunrise. And I said I was going to fly the air today to make sure that the replacement one was good. So I thought I'd have a go at streaming. And apparently it worked.
Oh, so you streamed while you were flying?
Yeah.
Wait a second. I think I saw something. Yeah, I think I did already. Yeah.
It split it automatically into two parts when I did the swap on the battery.
Oh, okay.
I tell you,
and you did this with workaround?
I used the DJI app with the workaround, and
nice.
It worked. I did not have to start it first in the YouTube studio. I did go in there to get the key, but I just went downstairs and I put the key and the channel, the r.p.a.s server into the settings and fired it up, and it connected up fairly quickly. And I was streaming a little bit. It was a bit variable in frame rate between 15 and 50, but it did a reasonable job. And of course, I didn't do a Philly. I did not take a second mobile device outside with me to monitor the chat, so I had no clue.
Oh, was that? Oh,
that's
I didn't know you did that.
Yes, apparently with DU Recorder, it will put the chat up on the screen on Android, but not on iOS. So he takes a second phone with him and watches on that. But I didn't, so I had no idea whether anybody was watching or not. I just sat there and talked to myself like a rotten idiot. And I actually didn't think it was working until I got upstairs.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on that DU Recorder screen. I'm surprised anybody can see anything.
Well, that's the other thing. I was wondering even if it does put all the chat and everything up on the screen, do I really want to do that? Especially I was flying on the iPhone 8 Plus this morning. And it's not the biggest screen in the world, so do you really want all of that chat on the screen when you're trying to fly?
Yeah, probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I guess, Mike, if you have a bigger screen, I suppose if you're flying with a tablet or something, it might be all right. But with a phone, yeah, I mean, that's what I normally fly with, is just an iPhone. I'm just seeing if I'm in frame here. All right, I'm going to switch to my computer. I'll be right back.
Not a problem, my friend. Are you logged in twice?
There we go.
Yes, you are logged in twice.
Look at that. Just pop out the chat here.
It's a lousy quality broadcast on my behalf, and as far as video quality goes, I mean, I'd like to do
no difference. With my crappy internet, buddy, it all looks the same to me. So
I'm actually monitoring myself in the background.
Oh, like on the YouTube stream?
Yeah, and I've just changed it from 500, the bit rate from 500 to 750, but it really hasn't made any difference. It reaches a law of diminishing returns. I think at a certain point it reaches its peak sharpness and then starts to become jerky. And Peter Carroll's in there. Hello, Peter. There is a link up the top of the
Morning,
chat.
Peter.
If you'd like to join us on the chat on the panel, please feel free. I'm just fiddling with settings. All right. I'm going to be satisfied with the 500 bits, the bit rate of 500, I think, at this point.
I'm reclining this morning.
I'm sorry I missed that to you.
I'm just reclining this morning.
Okay.
Can't be bothered getting up.
Oh, that's all right, my friend. Feel free.
Yeah, I was considering doing a dawn stream this morning.
Oops. Oh, I'm not sure what's happened there, Hughes. Either I've dropped or Hughes dropped. Peter just said hello to you. Peter just said hello to you, Peter Carroll.
Hi.
Would you just reply by typing so that I can see if the stream is locked up? I don't think it has. Yep, no, it's definitely Hugh that's dropped away. I'm sure I'll get the hang of this once I've done it a bit longer. I'll know what's happening instinctively. It's as long as you've got a working microphone and a camera, Peter, it's simply a matter of just clicking on the link above you, and it will, I'm assuming that you're using Chrome as well. That's the other requirement. You need to be using Google Chrome as your browser. But if you click on the link in the chat there, it will open up Hangouts, and you have to tick a little checkbox and acknowledge that you're about to join the stream, and then click accept, and you are brought into the chat. But don't feel any pressure. The offer is open if you'd like to join us now or any other time. I'm really not sure how well the time slot will work out tonight. Are you on an iPad? I can join with my iPad, but I had to install Chrome and Hangouts to do it. And Hugh's back. Did you break it, Hugh?
Internet, mate.
Well, with my internet as it is, I immediately got Luna there to type something into chat, so I knew whether I had dropped out or you had.
Yeah, it's usually me. I have what they call backwoods bandwidth. That's
that's me as well.
Grace.
Well, I'm going to do the internet a favor tonight. I'm not going to do a discussion on the new Osmo Action.
Thank you, sir.
It's been done to death already. As a matter of fact, I think it had almost been done to death before the camera was released.
I hear it's a wonderful camera. You know what, though? Since you mentioned it, you brought it up, so I'm going to have to go with it. I did watch Peter McKinnon's review of it, and it blows the GoPro away. It really does. I mean, not blow it away, but it's better. It's marginally better in every area.
Yes, that's it. I enjoyed Drone Valley's. Is it Rick? Another Rick? Yeah, Drone Valley's review on it. He's obviously been preparing for that for some time.
Yeah,
he's one of the guys that's less given to hyperbole and keeps pretty well to the facts of it. Yeah. And as you say, in pretty much it has a couple of features that are totally lacking on the GoPro, but in all the other areas, it's just marginally better. Yeah. And the price is very competitive.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, what got me was Peter McKinnon did side-by-side videos. He put the two cameras on the same stick, and so you could see exactly the same frames of video. I mean, it was absolutely clear, and I felt awful because I just bought the GoPro about 2 months ago. Just bought it, and I waited for a long time.
I refuse to buy into buyer's remorse anymore. I used to suffer from it really, really badly. I'd buy something and then I would second guess the price, and of course, as with any kind of consumer electronics, within a week after you buying it, it's always obsolete. If you became too. If you bought in too heavily to that, I have to have the latest and greatest. You'd never buy a drone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. What they call it, gear acquisition syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. Yeah, that's quite good.
I have
Well,
gas.
yeah, yeah. Well,
I'm a little gassy.
yeah. Oh, well, if they do release a Spark 2, as some people are saying in July, that may well render it will render the Spark obsolescent, of course, and it may well render the Air. But I'm not going to have any remorse over it. I will continue to campaign the Sparks until they die.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my Sparks have a date. Actually, no, my Air has a date on Sunday to teach Luna how to fly.
That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah, she's decided that I think being brought into the community. Yep. Yeah. Look, Peter, I don't think that. Well, how can I put this? I don't think that GoPro are secure, financially secure, but I don't think that's got anything to do with DJI. They came very close to going into receivership last year, and that's obviously they've got to restructure their business model, but that's got nothing to do with DJI. If they do go under, it won't be because of DJI. And the Hero 7 is still an extremely capable product. Yeah,
Oh,
and
it absolutely is.
thank you, Phil.
The only thing that I really wish I had was that front-facing screen, because when I'm vlogging with it, which is not very often to be honest, but
Yep.
when I do use it for that, it's difficult to frame things. So
That is one of those features that I commented on that was totally lacking in the opposition, that front-facing camera. I can see, and especially if you're going to campaign it in a gimbal,
yeah,
it will make it very, very useful. So, but people have got the Hero. I don't think if I had a Hero 7, I would not be selling it to go and buy the DJI. But if I had neither and I was buying one, then obviously I would probably go with the DJI.
I considered that yesterday. Well, before everybody gets onto the Osmo Action, I thought maybe I should throw mine up on Amazon used and at least get the price for the DJI camera, and then I could buy it. But no, I'm not going to bother.
Can I ask what your purchase price in Canadian was for the Hero 7?
$600 Canadian.
Okay,
That's a lot of money for me.
and it's $100 more than the price point for the Action, is it?
Honestly, don't know. It's $350 US, so it's probably 50% more in Canada.
Yeah, it's $4.99 here.
$4.99 there.
Yeah, and our dollar hit 69 cents US today.
Oh.
Peter Carroll saying he doesn't vlog, so the lack of the front screen doesn't bother me. I hear you, Peter. Look, yeah, the only thing that makes me sort of pause is that 5 or 6 weeks ago I had no plans on getting on YouTube, and then 2 weeks ago I had no plans of running my own stream or doing one. So I guess it's the best laid plans of mice and men. I'm probably anything I buy in the future, I'm going to have to consider not just my immediate needs for it, but what I might need further on down the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking on the DJI store, and it only shows it in American dollars, and I haven't seen it on Best Buy or any of the other outlets here yet. So,
yes, look, I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are going to be happy with it. A lot of people who don't have an action cam.
Yeah,
and yeah, as Peter said, your needs do change, but there's going to be people who don't have an action cam, and of course, as Philly and I said the night before that, there are a certain small cadre of DJI fanboys that will buy it just because DJI have released it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, if I was financially like I used to be back in my tech days, I would have just bought it. No questions asked. I would have ordered one already. But now as a starving artist, as it were, I've got to kind of think those purchases through a little better.
Oh, no.
Well,
things.
Hello, Brad. There's a link further up if you want to join us, or I can put it in. I would imagine it probably won't be available in Australia. I didn't bother finding a delivery date, Peter, but it'll, I would say 2 weeks to a month, generally going on the usual time frame for new products. and the current instability with the trade situation. That's all right, Brad. Not a problem. I know that you've got to get the kids to bed around this time and a few things to do. It's really this is a oh, I should have shut that down, shouldn't I? This is an experimental time slot. We'll see how well it works out. I may not go at this time. I just chose this time slot because it's good here in Australia and not too horrible in the UK. It's not really good for North America. Old Hugh here is he's made of stern stuff.
I'm always up early. Well, there's a lot of guys like Rick Hallibur's often up in the middle of the night. There's probably 10 guys that I know that are up weird hours like this that I see on live streams.
Yep. Yeah. Look, we have a small. When I first got into YouTube, I didn't know of too many people at all in Australia that were on who were drone related. I now know of about half a dozen. There's Brad and Peter, Greg, Oz by Drone, Ice Spike. There's a few Oz Beach Andy, Matt North, and a few
great people.
Yeah, there'd be about 10, I would say, regular Australian guys.
Yep.
But obviously, the majority of my acquaintances so far are in North America and Europe. I'd like to spread my contacts out, and I've been dropping into Greg's stream the last couple of weekends. He's obviously pretty switched on.
I loved his interview with Art. So, these guys are so far apart on the political spectrum. It was so funny to see them together doing an interview. It was great. So Greg's very polite, but he's very firm in his convictions, right? So.
Well, I'm such a non-political animal that I really don't take people's politics into account. But I think that Art is a fairly staunch conservative.
He is.
So that means that Greg would be a liberal.
Yeah, exactly. But they did well. It was a good interview. This was a few months back, I think. But
I think that it's Brad's just coming for the free food. I think that it's pretty inevitable. Our government's going to change on the weekend, and we're going to move as we do from the inevitable in the inevitable cycle of, generally speaking, 8 years Conservative and 8 years Labor. And we'll go back to Labor this time round. Due to our wonderful voting system called preferential voting, which you guys don't have. We're the only people, I believe, in the Western world that have it.
Haven't heard of it.
Essentially, the way it works is you can vote for a party. The ballot papers have a line, and you vote either above or below the line. And above the line, you just vote for the party of your choice. And below the line, you can number every single candidate in the order that you choose. And what they tell you is that the way it works is your first preference goes to your first choice, et cetera, down the line. But that's actually not how it happens. What it really amounts to, if you do any study, is that if your choice does not come first, your second choice becomes your first choice. And then if they do not win, your third choice, and so forth down the line. So you could end up giving your primary vote to the person that you choose sixth or seventh if that person wins. They carefully don't tell you this at school. If you vote above the line, you just tick one in the party of your choice, and they get to assign your preferences as they see fit. So essentially, it makes sure that this country stays as a two-party oligarchy.
Yeah, well, it's the same in Canada. Different, the mechanics are slightly different, but the results are the same. That we've got a two-party oligarchy. Well, no, it's a one-party oligarchy. It's money versus the people.
Yeah,
and the two parties they're just for show. It's just theater, right? So. Yeah.
Well, Brad says that he's preparing his CV to submit for Prime Minister on Sunday.
Right on, buddy.
If you get the job, Brad, I'll take the Minister for Immigration and Defence. I'll be right. I'll start a good regional war. Don't you worry. It'll really boost the economy.
Or you just want to play with the submarines and ships and planes, don't you?
We don't. Well, we do have a half a dozen submarines, of which at any given time 3 or 4 might be working. We're talking about building some new ones. Brad lived in Epping until 5 years ago, which is Yeah, one of those seats, let's say. And he's coming back to Brisbane in 2020 just to annoy me, he says. He's not going to annoy me. It means I'm going to have somebody to go flying with, which is something I've lacked up until now. If Luna had her way, of course, Philly Drones would move to Brisbane so he could go flying with me.
I thought maybe that's why she wants to fly drones now to kind of get Philly's attention with her own drone skills.
No, Philly gives me his attention anyway.
I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
That camera is supposed to be Ploopy cam, but now it's Spud cam, yes.
Yeah, I see two pictures of Luna, one on each end here. Okay.
It's
when I had my screen compressed, I only saw half of her on each side, so I thought it was a bug on my screen.
No, that camera is normally tilted up a little bit just to get the top of that chair because that's where the cat lies. But I tilted it down a little bit for tonight. And if I was using the camera software, I could zoom in on me. But because I'm controlling it through OBS, I can't. And I've got the widescreen pan, and that catches her in the edges of it. And Into the Maze. Welcome. I'm trying to remember. I'm old. I've got a shocking memory. If I go and look at your channel, I'll know who you are, I hope. Into the Maze. Okay, a gamer by the looks of it. I've not been a gamer for years, as you can tell by my age. But anyway, it's a drone-based channel, as you've probably guessed, and you're welcome. And just let me get back to my proper screen. I've got too many windows open here. It's a problem. And
I could increase the font size because I'm sitting far back from my monitor right now. There we go. That's better. I can read now.
Okay, Into the Maze. I've given you a wrench there so you can help play Whack-A-Troll if we see anybody come in there. Not that I've had that problem yet, but I've seen it happen for other channels.
Oh, it'll happen, believe me. And when it does, it's scary sometimes, bro. Really.
Yeah, look, I haven't had it in this community. Obviously, I used to have it in the gaming community. At one point, I gave away gaming after I stopped managing Oceanic Gamers Network, which was 3FL. The Australians will know who that is. And I gave it away for about 3 years, and then the kids reached that age that they were enjoying Minecraft. So I started hosting my own server for that, which became the second most popular private server in the world on statistics.
Wow.
And it has a very high following in Indonesia, the Philippines, and the Middle East. And there's just that, and of course they're quite young, the gamers in that game. And there's the inevitable cultural differences. And in the end, I ended up putting a IP ban on every internet service provider in Indonesia and the Philippines, which I got a lot of hate mail over that, but my trolls certainly went down.
Yeah. Morning, Matt. What's up, buddy?
And Matt North's here. Hello, Matt. I'll stick a link in the channel if you want to join us on the panel. I haven't seen you on a panel yet, but there's first time for everything. Matt is my senpai when it comes to video editing and production value. I cannot believe the quality of what he gets out of the Spark. It's really something.
Oh, yeah.
He's also a bit of a card as well. That's it.
One of these days, I might get over to Australia.
You'd be welcome. We're pretty accepting, and I'll even tell you where the crocodiles are before you go swimming.
I'd appreciate that. That'd be mighty neighborly of you.
Actually, I make light of it, but a year doesn't go by that we don't lose a couple of German or US tourists.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something we don't have to think about here. I mean, in Canada, in wintertime, we batter the cold. Like if you're out in the bush, you die of exposure. That's the main culprit. So, we're all about starting fires and shelters and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's mind you, what you have that we don't have is bears. And from what I can tell, they're pretty much present in the entire landmass of Canada, whereas crocodiles are only, well, depends on who you ask. If you ask the government, we only get crocodiles in the northern 1/3 of the continent, but they're they're spreading further south every year, and so it's getting down towards a half.
Well, as far as bears go, we have black bears pretty much everywhere around us here, but they're not aggressive usually, unless you get between a mother and her cubs or something like that. They're terrified. They run like hell. If you go all the way out to the west coast, up to Alberta and British Columbia, you get grizzlies, and of course they'll eat you. But even them, they're not too bad. Like, if you see them, they'll see you, and you can have a little mutual thing and go away. Polar bears, they will hunt you. They will stalk you for days and eat you because seals are getting rare up there with the ice melting and stuff, right? So
yeah, we've been seeing it here in the media. They've been showing that with the decrease in the pack ice, the bears are having to swim huge distances, and their hunting has been disturbed. And we get a lot of TV regarding North America that I don't think you get as much of us. And hello, Brent Nunley. How are you?
Morning.
There's a link up there in the chat, or I can post it again if you want to join us. But so we're aware down here that one of the biggest worries in North America now is what I think you call them pizzlies, hybrids between the polar bears and the grizzlies.
Yeah, and that's exactly how the polar bears developed initially, right? Is they started migrating slowly north thousands and thousands of years ago, and that's how they reckon that the polar bears became a specific species anyway. But what's happening now is they're coming into towns and eating garbage dump stuff, so
Yeah.
which is kind of scary. They're eating things like diapers, and I mean, it's awful. It's awful.
We get made aware of that by a lot of these reality TV shows, Gold Rush and things like that. The gold miners in Alaska and this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. Look, there are gators, but I can tell you, Brent. The year before, in 2017, there were as many deaths from alligators as had taken place in all of recorded history. That is confirmed deaths, and that was 7. So on the books in the United States, they have 14 confirmed, and I'm sure there's more than's been confirmed, but there's been 14 confirmed fatalities. We get that many fatalities in about 3 years.
You mean 14 fatalities in history of the United States for gators?
Apparently, look, that's what the article said. It was on the internet. It's got to be true, right?
I believe. Yeah.
That's it. So I don't know, but what's my streaming schedule? Okay, I do it currently. This is only the first week round, and it may be tweaked, but the current schedule is Thursday nights at 8 o'clock our time, which gels in with us here in Australia and in the UK, and then I stream Monday mornings our time to make it at about 8 p.m. in North America. So it's 7 a.m. in the morning our time, I think. I'd have to go and look. It's if you have a look at my channel, the Rowboat Pilots Australia channel, there is a video clip there where I announce the times and I worked out all of the offsets there. And just play that. It's only a couple of minutes. Excuse me for a second. Okay, I've just been updated by Spud. There's been 23 confirmed deaths. There you go. But crocodiles are an utterly different beast. Alligators are quite slow on land, and just not. They don't. You wouldn't want to mess with them, but they don't have the belligerence of crocodiles. And
is that what happened in Australia? They're crocodiles versus alligators?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a totally different animal. Crocodiles are extremely belligerent. They will go out of their way to hunt you. I've had them hunt me. And over a short distance, over 30 meters, 30 yards, they accelerate more quickly than a racehorse. A man cannot outrun one in a straight line. What you need to do, and I've had to do this on 1 or 2 occasions, you run until the noise of them behind you becomes almost deafening, and then you zigzag because they don't turn very well.
Huh.
And as long as you can run 100 meters, they will tire and give up.
God, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, see, then Brad's up there. He's in Darwin.
Yeah.
The last time I went up there was just before they they declared the Kakadu National Park. I went up with a number of shooters because we had quite a large population of introduced water buffalo from Southeast Asia, and they do tremendous environmental damage, and they wanted them hunted out. So there was a group of us wandering through the marshlands up there in the grasses, and carrying large bore rifles and up to our hips in mud and water, and it leads to quite a few nerves, I can assure you.
I bet.
Yeah. Brent says alligators are fast for short distances, but not as aggressive as crocs. Yeah, the experts, and I have no desire to become an expert because that means I'd have to get a lot closer to them than I like. But the experts are still debating back and forth whether Nile crocodiles or the estuarine saltwater crocodile, which we get through Southeast Asia and Australia, are the most aggressive. But either way, recently we had one. There's one in the Adelaide River called Brutus, and he's about 80 years old now. He was alive when I was up there, and
I
that's
didn't know they lived that long. Wow.
Oh yeah, they're still arguing how long, but there's been one with a recorded life in captivity of 110 years, and they think that that's about maximum. But Brutus up there, he lost his front right leg to a shark attack many years ago, 40 or 50 years ago. But
Wow.
he doesn't worry about sharks anymore because, he hit the news headlines in late 2017. A tourist on one of the travel boats snapped him dragging a bronze whaler, which what you'd call a bull shark, ashore in his jaws and killing it and eating it.
Wow. Damn.
So Drone Kings, he is right next to the Darwin Harbour. So if you don't get taken by the crocs, you'll trip unexploded ordnance dropped by the Japanese in the Second World War.
Yeah. Scary. Now, in the north, we do have very, very vicious mosquitoes and black flies in the summer. And at a certain point, you'd almost wish a crocodile was chasing you because you'll be going mad trying to get them off you.
It's funny. I was downstairs this morning doing that first live stream from the aircraft, and I'm flying, and next minute I had mosquitoes buzzing around my head. It's pretty hard trying to fly and get rid of the mosquitoes. It's not conducive to good flight.
I have some anti-mosquito stuff.
Thank you, darling. So we've got all of these lurkers in the chat, all these Aussies, but they're all too shy to show their head on camera.
Come on, we can have an all Commonwealth show here, guys. I'm Canadian. I'm
That's
part
it.
of the woohoo.
I mean, it could be worse. We could have some of those damned Americans here, couldn't we?
Oh God.
I never miss the opportunity to drop a line in. Into the maze. I'm not sure where you are, mate. Whereabouts are you? You probably typed it in earlier, but I wasn't watching.
Oh, south of Brisbane. That's why
Brisbane.
I stay south of Brisbane. Okay.
Well, he's not far from me then. So he's another guy with substandard internet. No, he's probably on the NBN. No, New South Wales, yeah. Well, technically, if you listen to the government, we don't have crocs here. I'm in Logan City, about halfway between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. However, if you do a search, you can find clippings of about an 18-footer that was pulled out of the Logan River a kilometre south of me in the 1880s or 1890s. So much for what the government says. Ah, right, northern New South Wales, so the Gold Coast. He's got substandard in there until Monday. You bastard.
Ooh, nice. Nice. I have to wait till 2020 before I get upgraded.
I put down my order. I hung off on the National Broadband Network until the end because I wanted to let them debug it a little bit. And then I put my name down a couple of weeks ago. But then when I went up to near the Wivenhoe Dam to fly 2 weekends ago, my wife took a very, very deep liking to the area, and she's been hunting for houses for sale or rent up there. it's on the cards that we may be moving. So I put a hold on the NBN, because if I order it here, and that ISP does not have services out there, it's too bad for me. I'm stuck paying for it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Bren, it's true. They're very clever, and also, and this holds true for alligators as well as crocodiles. The notion that they are cold-blooded is very deceiving, because they have such mass in them. The large ones, like a large crocodile, will easily go a ton. Some of them almost twice that. Very rare
I had
examples.
no idea they were that big.
Yeah, look, definitely a ton, and there are reported cases of them being twice that. The biggest one in the world a few years ago was one in the Philippines, and it was about 1,800 kilos. But anyway, they're virtually warm-blooded just through their own mass, and even in cool weather, they're very quick.
Yeah.
And I was clued into this. I had relatives living in northern Queensland, and they clued me when I was quite little. You'll be on the bank of the river, and you've got to watch the water. You don't get too close to the water, because they'll come out of the water in a rush. But the other thing that they'll do, especially around dusk in the evening, they'll come out of the river a couple of 100 yards upstream or downstream of you, and they will come around behind you, and then come at you and trap you between the river and them. So they are frighteningly clever.
I would be picked between being stalked by a crocodile and a polar bear or a grizzly or something. I would definitely take the bear. It just seems more terrifying. You know, a lizard, a big lizard chasing you. I don't know. And that whole spinning thing they do when they grab you. Christ, that's awful. Ooh.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm using that ADSL nonsense now. I've got Annex M with the enhanced upload, but as you can tell by the video quality, and I have heavily tweaked OBS to step down my resolution and my bit rate, and that's the best I can do on it. I'd certainly like to do better. Yes, Hugh, the crocs are, they're harder to see. They're so close to the ground, and a lot up near the rivers, up in the north, of course, we get a lot of the long grasses, chest high, and brush, and they can conceal themselves, and they move quite slowly. A polar bear or a grizzly, they're a lot further off the ground, easier to see, and they make a bit more noise, I would think. John Plop. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses, which is why I'm peering like a myopic old fart, because without them, I'm a myopic old fart.
You are a myopic.
You know what I find terrifying, Brad, is any kind of aerial flight now over a beach anywhere where there's sharks, because you can just friggin' count, sharks. I guess you're counting crocs, but I mean, I would never go in the water again after seeing stuff like that. I just don't.
We have quite a few picked up. I've lost audio on you, Hugh. I don't know whether it's me or what it is.
I'm still here.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I know what's happened. I'm watching the live stream and not the not the Hangouts. That's why. The sharks. The surf lifesavers, although they've ceased duty for the year, but the surf lifesavers are all being slowly equipped with drones. My name's down with them and the Volunteer Marine Rescue. I've made myself available to fly for them, and every day there's shark sightings, and some of them are very big and very close to shore, great whites and this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Night.
I'll call you if Philly shows up.
Okay, you better.
Well, you know what's funny? So my wife and I went to Nova Scotia for a vacation this just past September, and Nova Scotia is a big, maritime paradise. Lots of coastline, lots of water, and you're very far north. Anyway, what I had no idea of was that there were great whites all around the water there. I had no clue. And one day we were out swimming, and my wife sees something in the water, and she says, "Honey, there's something out there." And so I dashed out to get her, and I pulled her in, and we came into the shore. Anyway, it turned out to be a big gray seal, which that sounds benign, but where there are gray seals, those are the food for the great whites there, right?
Yep.
So anyway,
from what I understand, see, my problem is I've got an eidetic memory and I read a lot, which is why whenever anybody says something, I've got something to add to it, which makes me sound like a know-it-all. I don't like to be that way, but from what I've read, great whites are not that common that far north. It's a little bit cold for them, but you have a very large population of salmon sharks, which are extremely closely related to the great white. As a matter of fact, except for a few differences in the fin, they're almost impossible to distinguish between.
I didn't know that. What do you call them? Salmon sharks?
Salmon sharks, yeah.
I've never heard of them. But then I didn't know great whites lived in Canada either. So there you go. I've learned a few things.
We get them, they're said not to like, as in great whites, are said not to like, they're not to like cold water, but we get them down south of Tasmania and in South Australia where they routinely graze on our abalone divers, and the water's pretty damn cold down there.
Yeah. Well, they have them tagged in Canada, and there's a live feed, and you can watch the bloody great whites swimming around Prince Edward Island and around the coast of Nova Scotia. And so, after I discovered that, I stayed on the beach. My wife went in for the swim, and I just stayed on the beach and droned. I said, no, I'm not going in.
Well, and this is a true story. I told it to Val the other day in her stream. I can remember being about 9 years old up in the Northern Territory with my grandfather, and I was swimming in the Adelaide River, which I would never do now. And I was standing in water up to my waist, and I looked up at my grandfather. I said, "Granddad, are there any sharks in this river?" And he said, "Oh, no, son, not since the crocs ate them all." I was still dry when I got out.
But he wasn't joking either, right? He was probably serious.
He was, but he wasn't. He was telling the truth, yeah. I'm just sharing my screen here, so I can't see the chat. Anyone who's saying anything, excuse me. And now I'll bring up the other browser. I'll mute the sound so that I don't get a copyright infringement. And I'll see if I can find something. These are salmon sharks. You can see the difference in the fins. Come on.
Now that's a place that's also on my bucket list is Alaska. I still haven't been there.
There you go. And as you can see, that's extremely reminiscent of a great white.
Good Lord, that's horrible.
Yeah, and that's the salmon shark. And then as you can see by the cage, they don't feel too sanguine about being in the water with them too. And my grandfather used to say, "I have a perfectly good arrangement with sharks. I stay out of their water and they stay the hell off my land."
I had no idea. I wonder if they're down in British Columbia off the coast, which is probably like
well, they're a cold water species.
Wow.
And by their name, they feed on the salmon. So if you're in an area that the salmon spawn, then yes, you can be sure that you have them there.
Well, Brent, I know that the great white attacks, it's a rare thing, but it's not sensible with me. It's a completely irrational fear. Now that I know there are sharks anywhere in particular waters, I just can't go in. It's, I'm just not comfortable. But that's okay. When I was a kid, I used to swim in those northern waters until my legs were blue. So I did my time.
People get used to what's in their area. Australians do. The truth of it is, we do laugh at the way Americans and the Europeans obsess about the amount of poisonous snakes and spiders and jellyfish, all that sort of thing that we have here. And it's true. We do have a disproportionately large percentage of the world's most deadly species here. But that said, we take them pretty well in our stride. Here, where I did that video on Camp Cable, that is one of the few places in Queensland where they find the coastal taipan, which is either number 1 or number 2 on the world's deadliest snakes. And we also get the eastern brown snake, which is number 4 on the most deadly. And I've been out there. One of our metal detector fellows was chased by a brown. They can travel at 5 meters a second, and they will chase you. I can remember I was with a bunch of metal detectorists. We were just in a skirmish line moving through the bush, and I heard it before I saw it. It was just a And I looked up, and there was a taipan standing above the 3-foot grass. You could see his head and the top of his body looking at me. I just reached up and quietly grabbed my two-way, which was mounted here, and I just clicked it. Snake, everybody, snake, snake. Oh, you can have it. It's your territory. I'm just going. Yeah, I'll step away from the snake.
Backing slowly away.
Hang on a moment. Well, there you go, Australians. Breaking news: Bob Hawke has just died. Which might not mean anything to you, Hugh, but the rest of the Australians here will know that, and that will be considered to be a national tragedy, regardless of which side of politics you follow. He's probably was our most respected living Prime Minister. Would have been a toss-up between him and John Howard. He was the one that I know the honourable leader of the opposition would love to have my nuts gold-plated on the mantelpiece. That guy.
Okay.
And yeah, Bob's gone. And I come from a conservative family, but I still consider that's a loss. Oh, you heard that an hour ago, Peter? I was here stressing about getting this damn live stream going. So that's a shame. He wasn't a young man. I'm not sure how old he was, Hugh, around the 80 mark, give or take, and he had been in declining health. But that's a shame.
Yeah, we have truth now. I wish he'd die quietly soon. It'd be nice, but what are you going to do?
Bob Hawke was the Prime Minister when Australia won the America's Cup, when America lost it for the first time. Which, of course, we love to remind them of, and remind them of, and remind them of. And that's Matt. He was the Prime Minister for a fairly sizable percentage of my youth, between him and John Howard, who followed after his government. Yeah, I went there. Yeah, well, see, he's Canadian, so he cheers when somebody beats the Americans even more than we do.
Yeah, I lived down there for 10 years too.
Yeah.
So I consider myself. I also lived in England too, so I don't know. I consider myself a citizen of the world, I guess.
Do you really class the United States as part of the world?
Yes, usually.
Sorry, I can't help myself.
I know, that's okay. No, yeah. I met some good friends down there and had I had a great time there. Best 10 years of my life, in fact. I did more stuff when I was down there than I've done ever. Just amazing.
Look, all jokes aside, I'd like to go to the United States. I realize that it's not a perfect society, but no society is. And
exactly.
I think a lot of their problems are inherent in the fact that they refuse to release personal liberties, such as firearm ownership and this sort of thing. And there's a cost associated with that. There's a cost associated with every citizen being having access to a firearm. Now, our society, we have a lower per capita deaths from gun crime and that sort of thing, but we're not bothered with any pesky freedoms either.
Yeah. It's funny. It never occurred to me to buy a firearm when I was down in the States. I used to hunt when I was back in Canada, so I had shotguns and things like that. But everybody's always talking about concealed this and that and pistols, and I never even bothered to buy one when I was down there. It's kind of interesting.
Look, Hugh, I was a big shooter in my youth. First, before I was in special projects recreationally, I was nationally ranked with long arms and pistol. And at the time that the Port Arthur massacre went down, here I had over 30 firearms, collectible firearms, from Mausers of the late 1800s through to AR-10, AR-18, FN-FAL, which is known as the SLR in Australia, and all of them. And when Port Arthur happened, like most of the other people, I also had AK-47s. I had the full collector's license.
Oh, wow.
I handed them in the buyback to be crushed. If I knew then what I knew now, no, I wouldn't hand them back, I have to say. I kept my handguns for many years after that for competition, and also in special projects. And after that, I didn't relinquish them until we had the kids. I don't feel that I didn't want to run the risk of having firearms in the house when I had little children.
Now, so what's changed in your opinion since then?
Well, it's just that my kids are older, and yeah, I feel that one thing about Australian society, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in the US, and it may be in Canada. We've been to all the wars. We have a populace that are always brought up with firearms on the land, so much so that the Japanese remarked on it in their assessment on whether they wanted to invade Australia, which they didn't want to. So even now, there are hundreds of thousands of firearms out there that people aren't aware of. That great uncle Fred brought back from the war. One thing I know for sure is at some point in their life, my kids are going to come across a firearm in an unexpected place, even if they choose not to shoot for a sport. And when they do, I want them to be able to have enough knowledge to be able to render it safe. So in the next few years, my license is a lifetime license because of my service relation. I can go back and renew it at any time. I just got to go into town and see Inspector Coombs. I'm a qualified range officer and a small arms instructor, so I will teach the kids how to shoot. I taught my wife how to shoot, but whether they decide to go on with it, that's up to them. I don't think I'd ever go back to competition here. It's too damn expensive. Yeah, special project security, not military. Think American Blackwater, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, I can't tell you much more than that because I'm still under an NDA, as the Americans like to put it, and will be for life.
Here's my gun, Brent. It's not a knife. This is a knife.
Oh, dear. You know something? One of these days, I'm going to punch Paul Hogan in the mouth. He has so much to answer for, that guy.
I love Paul Hogan. I tell you what, when Fox Lager came to Canada, that's all I drank for years after. I just loved it.
Yeah, a knife will make you just as dead as a gun, Brent. I've been trained with them as well, but I can make you dead from 1,000 meters away with a gun. So you'd want to have a damn long arm if you had a knife.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't like about Canada right now are these little changes in freedoms when it comes to knife laws, like I was telling you about the other day, where you can't have a thumb stud, a one-handed opening mechanism. Now they're banned from import. So it's just silly.
It's so difficult here. To give you an example, the other day, I'm in a two-story house, or it's one story, but it's got garages and storage underneath. And we've been here for 27 years. So in that time, obviously, I've accumulated quite a bit of bric-a-brac. And I found a little plastic container down there about 6 months ago, and it had about 237 rounds of .22 ammunition. So I immediately took it up to the local police station and handed it in, and had to fill out about 7 pages of paperwork and BS to do with it. But I did not want it here. I did not want to be found with it. When I was shooting, I had on 3 occasions I had the police turn up because of crank reports, and I don't want it again. And then,
so is it illegal for you to possess that ammunition?
Yeah, it's illegal to possess the ammunition without a current license, which I don't have a current license.
Okay, I got you. Wow.
And then about 4 days ago, my son was rearranging his drawers, and his chest of drawers. He pulled out all the individual drawers and he moved it, and he comes in here and he says, "Papa, I found this underneath the drawers." God knows how long that's been there. So now I've got to make a trip to the police station tomorrow just for this one. And it'll be another few pages of paperwork.
That's crazy.
Yeah, look, it's all right. I'm not a fan of our government. You asked what had changed. What's changed is as I've gotten older, I've become more aware of the fact that our government is not my friend. They are their own friend. Yeah. They serve their own interests before they serve mine.
Same here in Canada.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same.
That's the one thing I do admire in the Americans. I've read quite extensively of the founding fathers, in particular Thomas Jefferson, and they fought a war against their own government, which at the time was the British government, that they never wanted to fight. They were forced into it for representation, And they made sure after America was founded, the United States was founded, that the people would always have the means to resist a tyrannical government. And that was the right to bear arms. They're paying a heavy price for it in gun violence, but they're sticking to their guns, and you can't help but admire it. And when I read a very interesting think tank report only a couple of weeks ago that was punditing that within 35 years, Australia has the potential to become a totalitarian regime. Now, that's a little bit extreme, but when you read it, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think a lot of countries are going to become like, we're going to become one big Disney Channel, where everything is so, just so regulated, so manicured, so everything's put in nice and neat little boxes, and this is what you must do. And I don't know. I'm glad I'm on the way out. That's all I can say.
Matt North just said, hang on a second, we have exercise diamond storm up here at the moment, just to the sky every half an hour or so, yes. And into the maze. I came home from an overseas trip where I was lawfully armed with a pistol, which I didn't come home with. I did, however, find a 9mm round tucked into my leg holster. Got through 3 airports. 9mm of puff to cartridge, mate. Seriously.
And no detected the casing.
Mate,
That's
look, I'm not surprised. I started off in security as a technician. That was my first trade. And the way I got into the other side of it was I was employed by Australia's largest private security contractor, which I won't name. I've got to be careful what I say. And I was employed as a technician. And one Friday afternoon, the head of the whole security section said to me, "Do you want to come?" They had a range on premises. "Would you like to come and have a shoot?" And they probably thought that they were giving the geek a treat. But I'd been competing for 20 years by then. Oh, no, that's an exaggeration, but 10 years. So I went in down there and I cleaned them all up. The winner would get a slab of beer. So I went home with a carton of beer. And the next Friday again. And after the third Friday, they sort of took me and said, "How the hell did you shoot like that?" And I said, "Well, I'm nationally ranked. Didn't you know?" And they looked at me and a bit goggle-eyed. And then the next day he came up to me and said, "Would you like some extra shifts with armed division?" And of course, I was quite young at the time. I was with my wife, and I was about 20, 22. And of course, anything I could get. So I took that. And then later on, I was recruited into special projects. They came looking for me. But Matt said the firearms would be handy in Logan City. Where I live in Logan City, I was going to say it's Australia's answer to the Bronx. But from what I've seen by Herman and Lawrence's videos, the Bronx is nicer than it is here now.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty rough and ready.
I'll tell you what's really rough is D.C. Washington, D.C. It's a bad place, man.
No, it's I try and stay out of it now. The house is fairly secure. I've got a lot of special security on it, and I'm not as young as I used to be. I tell everyone I've got one good fight left in me, and I'm saving it for a special occasion. Maybe I should get a big axe.
Hey, two-handed Danish axe. I know where you can get one.
That's it. Brad says that Logan is fine. It's a good source of car chases for the nightly news.
Yeah, I don't miss living in a city. I enjoyed working in the cities. I worked in London and Washington and Ottawa. And now that I'm kind of, medically retired out here in the country, I appreciate that. It's quiet. It's peaceful. There's nobody breaking into my house. And I don't know. I'm glad to be out here. I do miss the action in the cities just from a, point of stimulation and for things to do like operas and different things.
We're not young anymore. As I said, we're thinking about going out to around Esk Way. It has a lot of draws. I'm in sort of the outer suburbs. Logan City used to be the outer suburbs of Brisbane until I made it a city of its own. It's suburbia, but it's not high density.
Yeah.
However, the median house price here these days in the southeast corner is about $425,000, and out at Esk, which is only by road about an hour or so from here.
Yeah.
The house value there is about $250,000, and you would be moving on to acreage. So
250.
Yeah, about 250 out there. I
Wow.
can buy. I can
Yeah.
buy a 4-bedroom out there for 250,000 on acreage.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
And so what's the catch? It's just more remote?
Yeah, that's right. And there's no nightlife, and only in a very few areas do you have the national broadband network. So I'd be stuck on my third world internet out there, depending on what it
Same
was.
here.
But I could go there. You get away from the big smoke. You don't have as many problems with crime and youth wandering the streets at night, which always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm half deaf. I don't hear them.
I just hear coyotes in the backyard. Those little bastards get close too. And there'll be 20 or 30 of them, 10 feet behind the house, yipping and doing whatever they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how dangerous coyotes are. You could tell me.
No, not very. They're getting bigger because we have here we have what they're called coy dogs, and they're essentially eastern wolves that have mated with wild dogs and coyotes, and so you've got this hybrid species that's actually quite large, but they're usually not aggressive to people at all. They do have large packs, but they're typically active at night and they're looking for small game and things like that. So
We have dingoes, of course, which are potentially dangerous. We had one go on Fraser Island, which is about 100 miles from me, and it's a tourist mecca. It's the world's largest sand island, and we had a dingo go into a caravan and drag a baby out by its head only a few weeks ago, and they've had. Okay, here's someone either doing. Okay, Brad, take care, mate. Have a good night.
good night, Brad.
They're fairly large, and they call them a native species. Technically, they're not. They were brought here with the Aboriginals between 40 and 60,000 years ago, depending on who you listen to. They're sort of a bit bigger than knee high, but Fraser Island is one of the few places in Australia where you can still find them as purebreds, because like in your situation, they're heavily interbred with domestic dogs, and they're quite dangerous. And is Brent going as well? Oh no, Brad's saying good night to Brent. All right, good. I should have put those glasses on, shouldn't I?
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen.
Yeah, that's it. So it's it's interesting with the differences and the similarities between where you are and where we are.
Yep. It's a big planet. It's a fascinating place. It really is. There's so much to see.
Yep. So much wildlife for us to kill.
Yeah.
I've
killed an animal.
Been a long time since I have. I don't hunt for sport, and I haven't probably in 30 or 40 years. I will hunt for the pot if I'm out west, but I haven't been out west for a long time.
I used to be a big duck hunter, and I actually really enjoyed that. Duck hunting is like typically you're shooting at dusk and dawn, and they're typically coming in to land, and that's when you ambush them essentially. And when they're coming in, they make noise like it's almost like a jet,
Yep.
screaming into the water, and then all of a sudden all the guns start blasting off. I mean, it's quite an event. It's exciting.
You need a punt gun, Hugh. You need a punt.
Oh yeah,
punt.
absolutely. Well, that's what I used to use as a pump shotgun, right?
Yeah, and Brent is saying, and then there was the duck-billed platypus, the Ornithorhynchus. Yes, and what the hell? It's when the first examples were captured by the settlers here in the late early 1800s and stuffed and sent back to Britain, they would not believe that it was a real animal. They believed that it had been stitched together from the parts of real animals.
I bet. From my perspective as a North American that's never seen one, I mean, when I saw them as a kid in pictures, it was bizarre. It was like looking at a dinosaur or something equally, distant to me. So
they are. They're a very ancient species.
Yeah,
and they're one of only two monotremes left on the face of the planet, which are egg-laying mammals. That and the echidna, and they occur naturally here in the creek that I put the camera on a creek this morning when I flew the drone over. There are platypus in that creek, but you never see them. I've lived here 27 years and have never seen them.
Really?
they're nocturnal. They're nearly blind. They have sensors in their beak that they use to get around. And although they're cute and fuzzy and cuddly, the males have poisonous spurs on their back legs.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
So I'll send one to Brent to cuddle.
My son used to have a little plush one as a toy when he was a kid.
You see, isn't that typical of Australia? Even the cute, fuzzy, fluffy animals will kill you.
What are you going to do? You're just a belligerent people, and your animals are too. What are you going to do?
That's right. We are so. Yep, that's right. We've got a jellyfish that's a half an inch long that'll kill you in 15 minutes. We've got an octopus that's a half the size of the palm of your hand that'll kill you in under 7 minutes. 9 of the 10 world's deadliest snakes, 8 of the 10 world's deadliest spiders, and then there's the Australians themselves.
And you'll wonder why we have these preconceptions about Australia being a deadly place to travel, right? Because it's true.
Well, that's why we have such a strong tourism campaign overseas. We've got to feed them somehow.
That's true. Yeah. Keep them from eating natural-born Australians.
I don't know that there's any such thing except the Aboriginals, perhaps.
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, not born like, your natives there.
Peter Carroll says that they have echidnas around his place occasionally. My brother is retired now, but he was a truck tyre fitter, or as they call them now, a tyre technician. He was a tyre fitter for many, many years for trucks, and his pet hate was echidnas, because a lot of his customers would do the Western Run up the East Coast, and a lot of echidnas on that run, and a truck would hit an echidna. Oh, it'd kill the echidna, but 8 or 10 tires would be destroyed.
Are they like a little? They're like a little spiky, bald creature.
Yeah, think of an anteater, but they're not so tiny.
Okay.
More like sort of that size, and in the 15 kilo to 20 kilo sort of range. A fair size, at least fully grown. It's like wombats. TV has a lot to answer for in the way they portray animals that are there to us and that are here to you guys. You only see pictures of little cute baby wombats that people cuddle. They actually grow to be about over 1 meter long and sort of 60 to 70 kilos, and claws that'll disembowel you. Even our emus, they'll kill you.
They essentially look like our North American porcupine, but
for the love of God! Hello, Mikey. Hang on, I'll throw you you were supposed to be going to bed, my daughter told me. She was stalking, watching you.
Pepito!
Yeah. Good morning, mate. How are you? I hope you're well, Mike.
So here's an interesting fact for you, Ari. In Canada, it is illegal to kill porcupines because they're an essential survival food source. If you get lost in the bush, they're the only animal that you can walk up to with a stick and kill it and eat it.
Yeah,
they're slow, they're stupid, and they help us survive if we get lost in the woods. Literally, that's a real law.
Yeah, I can believe that. Every country has their interesting laws. I like the laws that people have forgotten about. That's one of my private interests. I kind of find it quite amusing to find the laws that are still on the statutes, but
lots of them.
Yep. Oh, and Claude's here too. There's a link.
Oh God.
There's a link there if you want to grab it, Claude. And if Philly comes in, I suppose I better go and tell my family, or I'll die.
Oh, didn't she go to sleep?
No, she's gone to lay down, but I've been told in no uncertain terms he'll stop in. Okay. Oh, he's at Mass. Fair enough.
Oh.
You can say a few Hail Marys and Paternosters for me as well. Oh, no, if the rabbi finds out, I'm going to be in deep doo. It was
What? What?
That is so great.
Oh, what? What?
Here, put that eye up again. Here, put it up. Ooh. We'll fix you. A little surgery.
Now, to all Australians who are in the chat, you wouldn't come in. Now look what you've done.
Well, lucky I saw you were on because I was just going to sign on.
You were going to log on. This is my my other. I'm surprised you're awake. I suppose you've been up for a little while by now.
About an hour.
Yeah. This I didn't think I'd get you on this one. This is the Thursday my time.
Well, that's
So
fine. That's fine. You know, we all got to have our time. But I had a rant. I didn't get to it last night. See these stupid ass SD cards? I
yeah,
went to the park. I was gonna do a range run with my Mavic Air.
Yeah.
I was 3,242 feet away over the park. I was flying from one end to the other. I come back, go home, upload it. This freaking card is corrupted.
uh, there are tools.
So I didn't get nothing on it. I didn't get no recording of the freaking range test.
That's not good. You sure that it didn't record to it and you just can't read? Because there are recovery programs that you can get.
It said it's all corrupted. Is what I went to upload it even to YouTube, and it would not. It didn't do it. So I'm gonna have to run out and get some more SD cards. It just pissed me off.
I wish
I had this card, which is sitting here, and it's empty, and it's a good card. I forgot it.
that one looks like it's ended.
I could have done the flight again. Then I had some guy ride up to me on a bike when I'm flying a drone. He says, "What you doing?" He says, "Did you build that drone?" I said, "No, it's a Mavic Air." And he says, "Oh," he said, "That's cool." Then he started asking me questions, and I'm down there. I finally lost signal of it, so I hit the return to home button. I thought, and it's not coming back. It's not coming back. So then I said, "Just give me a minute, okay?" I said, "I got to do this. I can't talk to you right now." I went over there and I hit the return to home button. I was hitting the wrong freaking button. I was hitting the takeoff button for starters. I hit the wrong button and I slid it over. Then the controller started beeping. I said, "Okay, now I can answer your questions." I said, "I didn't mean to be rude to you, but sometimes you can't be bothered." And I said, I had a drone that I lost complete signal of. I had no video or no nothing of it. But I made it.
2 traffic cones, and I put them out by the car, and they tend to deter people. They see the traffic cones, they just kind of steer clear of me.
Well, what I should have done is I got my high visibility vest. This time of year, I need to wear that there, because if I have that on there, people think you're doing official work and they'll leave you alone.
Yeah, I wear a vest and a high vis shirt and a bright red hat with a drone symbol on it. You can see it behind me up there. Or I've got a couple of them for any of the crew. People do come up. I generally just say to them, look, if you want to stand behind my left shoulder, you can look at, mind you, most of them are shorter than me. If you'd stand by my left shoulder and stay there as I turn, feel free to watch the screen, and could you just be quiet until I land, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you've got. And that usually keeps them going. Yeah, Brent always wears his vest. But I wish I could get 3,000 feet out of my air. Okay, I
was using those parabolic dish extenders.
I got to get a set. I got to get a set. As you know,
I had them on it, and I didn't lose signal till the very end, and I was flying in a city where there's a lot of Wi-Fi, because right across the street from me is a veterans facility and all that. So there's Wi-Fi over there, and there's all these houses in the city. So I had a lot of Wi-Fi, but I was amazed. I got 3,241 feet. Then I lost complete everything, but I hit return to home. I hit return to home, and it come right back. So those stupid little $10 parabolic dish extenders, you just got to remember to keep them aimed in the general direction of the drone. They do work.
Oh yeah, they do. I just can't get any locally. I'll have to order them. But you know that with when I had the first Air, I only flew it for 3 batteries, and then it had that issue and had to go back, and I got the new one. After I got off your stream last night, Claude, I decided that I was going to fly it this morning. Well, it was this morning. I got off with you about 5 a.m. my time, and I was fiddling with the Air while I was talking to you. And I went downstairs we had sunrise at 6:31 this morning. I went downstairs about 10 past 6. I thought I'll fly it before I go to bed. And I also thought I'd have a go at live streaming I couldn't get DU Recorder to work on my phone. It just wanted me to pay for it. Apparently, you're supposed to be able to use it in the free version, Philly tells me, but I couldn't get it to work. So I did the hack as shown by Greg Osby, and went downstairs. I had no idea whether I was working or not. I thought it might not be. But I started it up and I flew the thing, and it was streaming. It dropped out when I did the hot swap of the battery, so it's been uploaded as 2 separate videos. But I could only get 208 meters away before I started losing connection. I had good strength. It was 3 out of 4 bars, but I was getting the little yellow strong interference warning and losing connection. So that was it.
This is what I use. It's called RC Style. And actually, I ordered this, and it was one of them deals where I ordered something, I should say, and they sent me this too, and this is all it is. And it's got the slots in it, so it fits right over your antennas. You can see them there. And this is what I had on it, and this is what I got the range with. So it was they're like a $10 item, and it comes in this really cool little bag you can put it in.
So over water with no parabolic reflectors, I can get 3,900 feet. That was my limit.
Have you ever tried flying it in a heavy RF environment?
No, this is in a no RF environment over water. Yeah, I've never flown in a heavy RF environment. They don't have it right where I am, really.
Yeah, where I was flying, it was a lot because we have the veterans facility there, right there, and was in the city, and yeah, one side of me is a river that I fly at a lot, but the other side is residential. So there's all kinds of Wi-Fi all over the place. So I was actually amazed that I just pisses me off this freaking card because I know what's in there. I got 3,241 feet, I think it was, when I started. Your signal started lagging. Then I said, "Crap! I'm almost to the end of the park. Come on, I can do it. I can do it." And then at that point, I lost signal. So then that guy started talking to me and distracted me just a little bit. But you got to try to be nice to people because that's how people like to get into the drone community. So I was trying to talk to him. I said, "Just a minute, let me do this. I got to think a minute here. I got a drone hovering 3,000 feet away. I got to get it back." So I said, I hit the return to home button. I slid it over, and I heard the controller start beeping. I said, "Okay, now we can talk." He says, "Well, ain't you worried about your drone?" I said, "I'll be back here in a few minutes." He says, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." Then we had these big old black, they look like turkey buzzards flying around there. And I'm thinking, oh, crap. And they were bigger than the drone is, obviously. And he says, I said, "Don't worry, you'll hear it before too long." And I was watching the countdown on the screen there. And I said, "It should be here any time now," because I could also see the signal picked back up, so I could see the map. Because what's nice too is it turns to face you to come back too. It doesn't fly backwards like a lot of them. So I could see it coming back. The camera picked it up finally, and I said, "Right here it is." He says, "How can you tell?" I said, "Oh, right there it is." And he says, "Well, what are you gonna do now?" I said, "I'll just let it land." He says, "It can do that." It landed within 4 feet of it. Took off though. Every time this drone, I even decalibrated compass there. It still, when I took off and landed, it was 4 feet off.
Yeah, they are very good. The Mavic series are very good on their landing. A little bit better than the Phantom, but I think Bill, the drone reviewer, did a comparison, and the Mavic 2 landed right on the pad, and the Phantom 4 was about 18 or 20 inches astray. And he declared the Mavic was the winner. And I just left a comment saying, well, if 20 inches out on landing is an issue for you, then I suggest you're probably flying it in too crowded an environment.
Guy says, "Well, that's cool, but if a car comes," I said, "Well, if I saw the car," I said, "I could have took over and landed it manually." I said, "I just wanted to show you." And afterwards, he says, "Well, these are really cool," but he says, "I actually thought you built something like that." I said, "No, this is a store-bought one." I said, "The hand-built ones don't always work like these do." And I said,
"Oh, not at all. Not at all. Well, they might now. You can probably buy some of those components off the shelf, right?"
You can get GPS, and I know that they're putting GPS in the FPV quads, Hugh, but whether they can do whether they can do return to home, I don't know, and they certainly can't. They can't do obstacle avoidance or anything yet. And the question is, even if they can, do the FPV community want to add the extra weight and complexity to the design? Because it's horses for courses. Those things are built for aerobatics and racing.
Well, see, now people like me, that's where I'd like an FPV drone that could go very fast, but also have that stable flight characteristic and be able to be, somewhat autonomous, so that I could get those really long, fast cinematic shots. That would be awesome.
Well, how fast do you want? You can get 50
An arrow.
miles. You can get 50 more miles an hour out of an air or several of the DJI stable. Okay, you can't do loops and rolls, but that is more down to the programming than anything else. They're capable of it. They're aerodynamically capable of it.
Yeah.
But the other issue is you buy a DJI Mavic Air, Mavic or whatever. You're not buying them to do loops and rolls. You're buying them for cinema photography and stuff like that. And this park here, I'm gonna probably later on run out and get some more, a couple more SD cards, because I was so pissed. And actually, I suspected this was a bad card, but I quick took off because I hadn't went through this one to make sure it was okay. And I grabbed it and I stuck it in there. I could have flipped to the internal memory, which I did. I just got the problem with it on the Mavic Airs is you got to plug them in the computer and turn them on to download them. So
now, you know what you should do with that card? You should take it and break it right now or hammer it so you don't use it again.
You can download it through the USB-C cord, Claude.
Yeah. Well, this card here actually is, let's see here. Where the hell is it? Okay. Well, it's only a 2 gigabyte disk card too, so I didn't know. I grabbed it by accident. I didn't know what it come out of. It may have come out of something I got. And
Gary, Gary.
I know I got some. I know I got some of these that are, bigger gig. And I didn't have my glasses on anyway, so I just grabbed the wrong ass card. So it's sitting elsewhere. So.
I stuck a link in the chat in case Gary wanted to join us.
Now, Gary, certainly at 1,800 meters, that was still in line of sight, right?
Yeah.
Mine was in line of sight of somebody's sight, but I was flying over a barely vacant park with a lot of trees and water, so water puddles, so ponds and that. So I push it over there, obviously, but. No way do I contend doing these tests. Only if you're sure you're not going to hit somebody with it.
Well, 1,800 meters comes out to about 5,800 feet, so it's a good distance for an air.
Yeah,
Gary's eyes like a hawk.
Yeah.
Well,
but did he use did he have antenna mods on it? Because like I said, I used the parabolic dishes online.
I need to get a couple of sets for the Air and the Spark.
They're not that hard to install either. I keep them right in the kit, So if I said, well, I want to go the full distance. I want to see what this thing will do, and I'm gonna pick me up another SD card. And I'm gonna go back over there. I'm gonna redo it again, and I'm gonna just go do the whole video. So
now the one thing with those parabolic reflectors is they make your transceiver very directional, so you've got to really be
not as bad as you think. 160 degrees is the arc
of those little parabolic reflectors.
Yeah, 160 degrees.
Yeah, because I basically was pointing in the general direction, because you can see on your viewer, if anybody fly like you fly airs and Ari does, you can see the general direction. You got your little map and everything in there,
right?
So I just pointed it in the general direction. Matter of fact, when I was talking to him, I was kind of turning around. I wasn't even pointing at the thing and just flying it, and it was working fine. So
it's. Look, considering the cost of them, Claude pays $10. Well, I'm probably going to pay $40. I think $39 they want for them here, but that's still a relatively cheap purchase. And for the peace of mind, I don't want to go flying 5,000 feet, but at the moment, My connection's getting dicey at 600 feet, and I don't want to have dicey connection even at the limits of the distance I'm going to travel.
Right. I was happy with 3,000, 240 feet with in an area that has a lot of Wi-Fi. So I'm going to try these actually up north over our property, which is no Wi-Fi hardly at all, and it's wooded area. I'm going to try to see how far I can actually fly it with this without in that range. See if I can increase the range
I
just a
suppose
little bit.
you use the same set of reflectors with your Spark, do you, Claude?
Yeah, they'll fit right on the Spark. You can use
Yep.
them either or.
Yep.
So if you bought one set, you can use them. You can just slide they slide right on the controller. So so rather than buying the set for each, if you want it, or you just buy one. And
Yeah.
just
Yep.
depending on which drone you're going to fly. I think these will fit on the Mavic 2s also.
Yeah, but the
Antenna.
Mavic 2s will operate on 5.8 gigs. Now, there's two sets of those parabolic reflectors that you can
Right.
buy. One set only works for 2.4 alone, and the other one works for 2.4 and 5.8.
Right. I actually this is actually a Mavic Pro set of parabolic range extenders. What I'm running right now, and it's from RC Style. I even got the part number, but yeah, they're made in China. Obviously, a lot of that crap is made in China nowadays.
Oh,
So.
they're about to double in price then, because I believe Mr. Trump has pissed the Chinese off.
Oh yeah, he did. So yeah, these are actually for Mavic Pro, but they work in the air. I mean, they work great. So obviously.
Yep. Oh, look, I definitely got to get a couple of sets. I have most of the accessories that I need, and I've got so much money in the aircraft that to skimp. What's the old English saying? I'd be penny wise and pound foolish if I didn't buy the little extra additions after putting out the big money for the aircraft.
Well, at this point, it's just I call it product support. At this point, you buy these little things to make your flying better.
Yeah,
You already got the stuff, and if I got 3,000 feet with this, 3,200 feet, say roughly, here give or take some feet footage. I don't know, for the $10 or whatever they initially cost. I mean, it's worth the expense. So
I've got a set that I used on the Spark once, and I had some issues with it. It actually interfered with my reception a little bit, so I never used them again. But I've got them sitting there. I don't know.
well, that might be the difference between the Spark and the Air, because the Air's got the antennas built into the front legs.
more likely
And
to be the difference.
Oh, maybe.
It's more likely to be the difference in the reflectors. There are some pretty cheap and nasty ones out there.
Like Claude, I think I got a $10 set off eBay or something. So
yeah,
1,755.7 meters. But who's counting, right?
that's still pretty good, Gary. Now, Gary, are you all excited about June 1st, man? We're going to be able to fly at night, and with our little Firehouse LEDs, man, we'll be able to go for miles. That
Is this in Canada or the US?
in Canada.
Oh, well.
You can fly at night, and we have to maintain visual line of sight, right? But with a strobe at night in a dark sky, Christ, you can see forever.
That's 5,706 feet and 4 inches. No, 3 inches. Excuse me. I wouldn't want to add an extra inch on there.
What was the first numbers? I missed that.
Yeah, 5,706 feet, 3 inches is 1,755.7 meters.
That's a good distance.
Yep. That's good. It's not bad at all. I'm not getting anything like that, but for all the fact that I've got a large area of bushland just near me, it is a fairly RF polluted environment.
I like Dustin Dunhill's location. He's up on a bit of a mountain,
Yeah.
and then he can fly out over sea. I mean, God, what a vista!
I am so upset with myself.
Did you see Dustin's latest one?
Yes.
He didn't make it. He crashed. He went out about 8 miles and lost it, but he brought it back and he crashed into a tree.
What drone was he flying?
Broke the tip of his Disco Parrot with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
He did that with an antenna mod and a bunch of other stuff.
So
He was flying to Molokai.
Yeah.
from Maui, and he was 8 miles out, and it lost signal, and it come back to him, and he let it come back, obviously. And when it come back, he was in an area that had a lot of trees, and it was in the late loiter mode, circling, and he brought it down and flew right into a tree and broke the tip of the wing off. So,
Oh, that's too
but
bad.
that's all it broke. That's all it broke.
I'm
The
really.
battery.
You can if you go to hang on a second. Gary says he just got notice from Transportation Canada that the Air is now approved for flight in restricted airspace with advanced certification.
Woohoo!
So, yeah, that's it. Hello, Beyond Trees. I know you, sir. Have a wrench. If you wanted to join us in the chat, feel free. There's a link. I'm not going to email it out. Yes,
I'll
look, I'm
say
really
this,
annoyed.
Harry.
I'm really annoyed.
Harry,
Yeah, go ahead, Cliff.
Harry. Well, with the links, sometimes, like if Sonia pops on here, I know a lot of people they have trouble with clicking on the link, but if you mail it to them, it seems like it works too. So if somebody tries this and they say, "Well, we can't get on," you may have to email them at that point.
People get confused with which link to use, whether to use the Hangouts link, the Chats link, or the YouTube link. They're all different links. You've got to use the Hangouts link.
Right.
I last week there was a guy here in Australia. He had 20. I don't know where he got them from. 20 discos, and he was selling them for $520 Australian on eBay. And I just bought that Parrot. The Phantom 4 Professional, the third last one in existence. So I thought it was I can't really afford to lay out another $520. And I ummed and ahed until Monday, and I thought, oh, bugger it, I'm going to buy it, can afford it or not. And then I went on eBay and they were gone. And the next cheapest one was about $1,500.
Yeah, because they're out of production, I believe, right?
Over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's actually, they make an agricultural version.
Right.
But they want $12,000 for it.
Yeah. See, that's the Rolex drone channel, right? The Irish fella Eamon.
Yep.
So he lost his, I forget what he was flying, a Mavic Air or maybe. Anyway, he lost his out at sea, and then he replaced it with a Parrot Bebop. But I was wondering, I told him, that he should consider the Disco because God, I mean, he flies such long ranges, chasing those ships and whatnot.
Well, the world record that I am aware of, the claimed world record, let's put it this way, he claims it's a world record, for the longest disco flight is 98 miles. And that's pretty good.
Wow. How would you?
Well, Dustin Dunnell is getting over 40 miles now. What he does is he makes his own battery packs with 16 550 cells.
Okay.
And I think he does... don't quote me, it's either 2 in series and 3 in parallel or 3 in series and 2 parallel. And he flew for an hour and used less than 20%. And it's, they've got a cruising speed of around 40 kilometers an hour. So do the maths. And then he does a 4G modification on them.
Yeah.
So he puts in he's got a 3D, a separate 3D locator transponder on it, 3G, I should say, GPS locator on it. Plus, he does the 4G controller mod to it. So essentially, he can fly it anywhere that there is mobile phone coverage. And I suppose around Hawaii, it's like up and down the east coast of Australia here. You've got, continuous coverage 5 or 6 miles out to sea all the way up the east coast.
Oh, that's amazing.
But like he said too, he said when he does this, he says, I got to make sure I got plenty of data to fly.
Yeah.
You got to have a phone that has unlimited data to do it. So.
See, my co-pilot turned up. That's why I brought the outdoors cam in and put it there as co-pilot cam. He's up there bathing himself.
I see him behind you.
Yeah, he's in the main camera, but he's got his own camera now. His little window. I figure if Roger can have Roxy cam, I can have Ollie cam.
Yeah, I'm just going to make some coffee, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes.
White with 2, and if you dare show off that Rodney Bell cup, I'm going to hit you.
Done.
Oh, he likes it. Beat him.
Horton's mug. How's that?
Yeah, right.
All right. Be right back.
very, very technical, but he documents everything. There's links to every damn thing in his videos, and he's really down to earth about it all. He's not up himself in any way. I like him a lot. He's very informative. Shut up, Claude. You're too noisy. Oh, good. He couldn't hear what I was saying about him, everyone.
Who, me?
No, no, no.
You know, I had to get something to drink.
Well, Thomas O'Sullivan is not here to take the mickey out of you, so I guess I'd better do it.
Well, you know, let's see here. Where in the hell are you at? There you are. I gotta have a drink with my Rodney Bell cup.
That's a polite way to put it. He doesn't, Peter, Beyond Trees doesn't care to make an appearance. That's all right, mate. I didn't really care to, but I wasn't left much choice by certain people who will remain nameless, Claude.
Hey, we become good friends doing this, right? Beyond Trees, you never know. You could strike up an international friendship. We have never physically shook hands or hugged, but we become good friends doing this. So that's the nice thing about the YouTube community. Sometimes you just got to step up and say, "Let's go for it," you know. So
I'm not tremendously comfortable being on camera, so I don't think of it as being a live stream. I just think of it as being like a big conference call with my mates, and I'm as long as I think about it that way, then it's pretty easy to live with.
well, yeah, it's just like me. You know, when you as well as I do know your first live stream ever, especially if you're on by yourself, you're going, you're going, I do a lot of and I admit it. So, but I was doing a lot more, and my palms were sweaty, and I'm going, oh crap, and I'm going like this and all that. But now it's like, okay, I'm talking to Ari and Hugh, and there's people listening in. It's like the old fashioned telephone party line. So,
You'd have to comb your hair. Well, try it from my perspective. I sat down here. I got out of the shower with 3 minutes before my timer ended, my lead-in timer. I was running late, and I'm sitting down here brushing my hair. It's not funny. Yeah, Claude, I know what you mean. I think we all are. One thing I've noticed about Bill, the drone reviewer, unless he's prepared himself a script, he says, more than I do. And when I listen to myself, I think, hello, Paul Murray. It's the Sultan of Ships.
Go ahead and say that. Go ahead and say that line, Ari. You got it down as you were doing yesterday.
It's the Master of Maritime, the Sultan of Ships. Give it up for Mr. Paul Murray. Okay.
That's cool, though.
He dropped in briefly before. He's at church. He's going. I'm just telling you. He reckons he's going to drop in shortly.
He'd better.
He'd better. Okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna go get a blanket to hide my inappropriate pajamas. I don't want to look silly in front of my senpai.
Okay, darling.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're just jealous because he has hair.
You hear that, Claude? You're just jealous because Philly has hair.
Oh yeah. She just got the Philly crush big time. There is what it is.
Yeah. You realize if I catch you flying my drones, it's your fault.
Oh my God. I actually got an SD card that I can use now.
I'm taking her and a Mavic Air out on Sunday to teach her to fly.
Well, there you go.
Hey, Bob Hawke died. Yes, Bob Hawke died.
No more suck my nuts.
What?
No more the honourable.
Yes, no more. The honourable leader of the opposition would love to have my nuts gold plated on the mantelpiece. Yes.
Well, anyway, I got an SD card.
Night trains in the house. Well, the link's there. Anybody who wants it.
Anyway, I got the old Mavic Air right here, and I got an SD card. It's all ready to go. I'm gonna have to plug this damn thing in though, and see what's in the internal storage from the flight.
They're a pain in the ass to get those SD cards in and out of the air.
I have to use a lot of times. I have two SD cards. I use one to to push the other one in. I
What's
used an. Oh, I had it too where I did that and it was sprung loaded and it flew out of the damn thing. I spent 20 minutes looking for it on the ground. I do a lot of cussing today. I don't know why. Sorry about that.
What you need to do is you,
I'm listening.
Matt, that should, hang on a second, I'll email it to you. That is Google Hangouts link. Apparently some people are having an issue with it. I don't know why. Hang on, Matt. What's happening here?
I know Paul, if he's trying to get on, he has to, if you post it, he has to jump through bells and hoops sometimes to get it to work. So,
Oh, my Lord, my Hangouts has, my Outlook has crashed. Oh, there we go. New.
So anyway, I decided yesterday. I just put it up because it was.
Matt, I've just emailed you the link. You'll probably find it'll work better from within the email. Assuming you've got you're using Chrome as your browser.
I used this little damn camera yesterday. I took it out and I did the. I hooked it on a bike and I rode for like I don't know 3 miles with it. It has no stabilization. If you saw the comments on that I posted on YouTube, anyway, Thomas, you know how he can be as one-liners. He says, hey, he says, great camera. I actually love the video stabilization.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, don't worry about it, Claude. We're used to you not being stable.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try it one more time, but I'm going to actually mount the camera on my head. Figured my head would be a little more stable than having it mounted on the handlebars of the bike. So
I was trying to be diplomatic when Art from Artco, he flew his Mavic Air with the mount on top and put the action cam in it. And it was the same. It was just all over the shop. It was making me motion sick trying to watch the video.
Well, that action cam is probably the same quality as this one here they sent me. And actually, of the ones I got so far, this is the best one. But yeah, no, it's not an Osmo. I got 2 of these. Where's the other one? Oh, here's the other one right here. I got 2 of these that were sent to me, and I got actually I think I got 4 of them. And I got some other crap coming. And so far, every one of them, they work good if you want to do it in the house and do you a quick announcement on it and hold it. But you don't want to put it on anything that shakes or rattles or rolls because the video. You just go see my latest video I put up. You'll see it. And I had it running at 1080p, which is probably realistically 720. But
well, I had a good think about it, and obviously I can't afford anything right now. It's going to be a couple of months before I make another purchase. But with the Osmo Action coming out, and they're talking about another pocket later in the year with a 1 inch sensor on it. So between those two, I'm hoping the price is going to drop a little bit on the current pocket. And look at me. Do I look like the kind of guy who's going to go scuba diving?
I was on his live last night hanging out with him, and he's going to be over Friday. He's got his Osmo, what is it? The Osmo one anyway. He's got one coming. So, I mean, he's getting rid of his Osmo to get the Osmo Action Cam. I'll get it out. So he's going to sell that. But I actually did order the Action Cam. So,
hello, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, how are you, fellas?
I've never been on a panel with Matt before. This is very cool.
It is, mate. It is, mate. Seen a lot of your stuff. You're coming up with some good stuff lately, mate. I really like what you're doing,
Appreciate
eh?
it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yeah, no, it's really good, mate. You get some good shots there, some nice subjects. It's awesome, man. Really enjoying that.
that. Cheers.
All the way over there in Canada.
Who's
That's-
honking and tooting?
That's what, sorry, Harry?
That's frightening, whatever that noise was.
Sounds like somebody's phone was ringing.
No,
So
that's
how's
not mine.
things with you, Matt? Where's your next trip going to be? Where's your next video going to be from?
I'm actually going out tomorrow morning. I'm charging the batteries right now. I'm going to leave here about 4 o'clock, and we're going to nick off to Wivenhoe.
I did Wivenhoe the other 2 weekends ago and enjoyed it.
That. Yeah, I saw that. Hopefully, that's a yellow out there, isn't it? Yellow zone, Wivenhoe.
No, it's flyable. I checked it with SCQ Water and I checked the VTCs and everything's a go. I did check in with the local police. I always do. And they took all my details. But no, there's no reason you shouldn't fly out there.
Yeah, okay. I thought near Wivenhoe, I thought it was getting near a yellow. Obviously, they're not the helipads and all that sort of stuff out there aren't controlled airspace.
No, they're unmanned.
Yeah, the further you go up into the Somerset region, it gets out of that zone whatsoever. I think I did one of those. Oh,
What does the yellow zone mean for you guys? It means you can't fly there unless you're a commercial pilot?
Yellow?
Yeah.
No. You can fly there, but just gives you a warning. Be aware that there may be flying aircraft there,
Gotcha.
uncontrolled airspace, basically. So
yeah,
you can fly there, but if you hear them, obviously, land it.
Taken out of the Canadian laws this year is seaplane bases, which they're everywhere here in Canada, right? Like we've got all these lakes everywhere, right? So we can fly around those now this year, which is going to be nice.
Mm. Oh, all right, yeah.
Oh, Matt, by the way, I just added your channel, so I just want to let you know that.
Matt put some really good footage up, and up until a couple of weeks ago, he only had the Spark.
Yeah, but I got the Mavic now. Actually, I bought that second hand, right? So there's lots and lots on there on the Facebook Marketplace and things like that. And I got that second hand for $800 with 3 batteries.
Oh, so gee, you can't argue with that. That's really good price.
Nice.
No, even though one of the batteries is actually shagged, so that's no good. But I picked another battery up for $50. That's even better with 14 charges on it, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's not much.
No, that's right.
I really do.
But I did actually find, I went up to Mount Coot the other day just to have a bit of a play around with it, and I did find that there is a crack in the axis on the rear left leg, arm or whatever, where it stops on. It's a rear axis, something or other they call it. That's actually got a crack in it. So I can't. I'm not going to fly it anymore until I get that fixed. It's a piece you can actually pull out and you can get another bit for it, which I've already got.
Is it on the arm or is it in the body, the mounting pivot point, the shoulder as they call it?
Pivot point, that's the one. Yeah, it's on the body, mate. The arm's fine, yeah.
Oh, the body. So you're going to have to put another shell on it?
No, it's actually it's a part you can buy separately. And you pop the top, and you've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6 screws that hold it in. And then you whack the new one in, put it all back together, and Bob's your uncle.
I'm doing some repairs currently, but mostly on Phantom series. I haven't done an original Mavic or anything in them, so I'm not aware of it. I haven't even looked at the teardown guide for them or anything at this stage. I'm sure I'll have to. I was down at National Geographic shop the other day, and they still had a Mavic Pro Flymore kit for sale there, brand new. They were trying to sell it out at $1,499 new, and they had a Mavic 2 Pro for $2,100 and change. So obviously they're trying to get rid of their entire DJI line, would be my guess.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a few rumors now. I guess obviously the Spark 2 and everything's sort of out the water now. But there is, I was looking. There is a rumor about that the drone in between the Spark and the Air, maybe. Who knows, man?
That's the supposed Spark 2, and I've got an in with our local dealer, in Southeast Queensland, the local authorised dealer, but I have seen no official documentation regarding it. But a few of the guys in the US are stating that about July, and yeah, it's supposedly going to be the replacement for the Spark, but the list of things that they say it's going to have: 3-axis gimbal, 2 minutes more battery, 4K. Oh, I forget the list now, but
like the AccuSync and all
no,
that stuff.
they're not giving it an AccuSync, but they're giving it an enhanced Wi-Fi and a few other bits.
So
and
same
pieces.
as what the Air has. The Air has enhanced Wi-Fi. So
It basically reads like a Mavic Air, Matt.
Yeah, right.
it's probably
Only
going to be
2 more minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Only 2 more minutes flight time, did you say?
Yeah, well, you think about it. It's a 3-cell battery, and look, there's no new battery technology ready for the market yet. There's a couple that are in pre-production, but it's going to be 2 years before we replace lithium ion or lithium polymer. So the only way they're going to get more flight time is go for a bigger plate in the 3-cell or an extra cell. Either way, that's going to add that much weight to it that a Spark-sized aircraft's not going to get off the ground.
Okay.
I honestly think it's going to be size wise between the Mavic Air and like the Mavic Pro 2 or the Mavic 2. The I'm talking about. But I think it's going to be in between there. Well, if it's going to be in between there, and it's only maybe $500 or $800 more to get the better one, I think I would spend the extra money and just go get the Mavic 2 or something. So.
Well, in Australia, you can still get them. A Spark Fly More is about $775, and a Mavic Air Fly More is $15.99. So
yeah, 1,500. Yeah.
So they're going to have to put it somewhere in between that at say around $1,200. And if I was going to spend $1,200, I would do what Matt did and go and get a secondhand Mavic Pro or Mavic Pro Platinum. Seriously, they're that much more capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
to let you know, some people in the chat are saying that they're only seeing your picture when everybody's talking. Nobody else is showing up.
Who?
Just to let you know.
It's probably locked on you, Ari, because I noticed the same thing.
No, I'm not locked on anything. I have not got anybody clicked here in there. I've got Hugh locked now you, now Matt. Paul Murray is in the house.
Good morning, Paul. Anyway, just letting you know, somebody mentioned it. I just thought I'd pass it along.
Good to see you, Paul. How are you, mate?
Hey, who is that? The Brownie man?
Brownie?
Yeah, Paul Murray. Are you eating brownies already, Paul?
No, actually, I had a Bob Evans breakfast bowl, but I'm thinking about the brownies. Yes,
He's branching out.
He's eating healthy. Then he's going to eat the junk.
Thinking about it is good for your cholesterol.
Yeah. Well, when you get to a certain age, you really don't care about cholesterol and all that kind of stuff. You just you ride the surf as long as you can, and then when it bottoms out, it bottoms out.
Just enjoy it, mate. Yeah.
So, funny. Paul, did you get any flying? You got a flying in yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I got 3 ships. Boom, 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 and I posted one last night just before midnight, and I just posted another one, and I have one more ship to edit and get it uploaded, and then I'll be up to snuff and then go hunting for some more ships.
Oh, right, yeah. Did you guys see Phillies last night? His live? He had people giving the fingers. He flew up to this restaurant and the people are pointing and there was a finger flying in the air. So he flies another way and there's people sitting on the roof of their place on like deck area and a woman's sitting there and the guy's in the couch and the old hand flies up and there's a finger. He says, "What's with all the fingers?"
I'm getting a really, I don't know why, everything's right. So, but they're only getting audio on Matt and Hugh. But I'm getting a very high-pitched squeaking intermittently with somebody's audio. So what I'm going to do is while you're talking, I'm going to go through one at a time, and I'm going to mute you guys from here and see where it ends, so I can find out where it's coming in. I believe, from what I've been told, that once I mute you, you have to unmute yourself.
Right.
So just
Hello,
keep on
hello,
talking.
hello, 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 hello. I hear a
Yeah,
squeak in my headphones.
I'm hearing a squeak too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
am too.
I'm going to mute Hugh first. Here we go. All right, start talking, Claude.
Hello, 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 hello,
Okay.
everybody. No squeak.
I don't hear any. Oh, yes, there's the squeak. Okay, unmute
there.
yourself. Unmute yourself, Hugh.
Or me.
No, now I'm going to mute you, Claude.
All right.
Okay, guys. Let's keep on talking and see if we hear any squeaking now.
Hello.
And
Hello?
all of a sudden, okay, I'm not hearing any squeaking now. Are you guys?
Nope.
And could
No,
you hear
can't
it,
hear
Claude?
Yep.
Okay, sounds like Claude's about to smash another headset.
Squeaking now.
And now it's back. He's unmuted himself, and now we've got the squeaking with the audio.
Hold on. Do I?
Hear that headset, Claude.
There's that hammer.
Hammer time, baby. Hammer time.
My headset is not plugged in.
Okay, I'm not hearing a squeak now.
Do I have to break another damn headset? I did that already.
No, it's fine. Yeah, that's interesting because I don't.
Hold on here. Hold on here. I have a second webcam plugged in. It has a mic in it. I just wonder. I didn't have that till I was playing on that webcam. So let's see now if I unplug the other webcam. So
Okay.
can you hear me now?
The squeak
Yeah.
is gone.
Fine. Let's see if we can find out what the story is here. I'm going to get you to talk one at a time, and if the others can sit back, and we'll see if your video comes up. So, could you talk for a couple of minutes, Asgard?
Just kidding. Do that. Sorry.
Your mom.
I'm mine. Hold on. Myself, whatever his name.
Yeah.
How's that? Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing you. Okay. Yep. Oh, hello, Mark. Not a problem. All right, we can see you, Hugh. You have a bit of a chat, Claude.
Yeah, the squeaking. I don't hear it in my headset. It might have been. Oh, I hear it now.
Yep. All right, Matt, you have a chat.
I'll have a chat. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No squeaking. Gotta love it. Beautiful thing. Is that all right?
Okay. Your turn,
Okay.
Paul Murray. Have a bit of a chat, Paul Murray.
Okay, here we are in beautiful Port Huron, Michigan.
Squeak. Right there, Paul. You're squeaking.
I'm sorry, Claude. It's you, man.
Okay.
Say it again, Paul, if you will.
Hello, testing 1 2, testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
All right. Okay. Let's do this right now. Let's do this right now. There.
I hate to tell you this, but you're still squeaking. Okay, for everybody in
I
chat,
better not be squeaking. I just threw my damn headset across the room.
I don't know about you guys in chat, but I got a picture on everybody on the panel when they were talking. And did everybody else on the panel see everybody else as they spoke?
Yeah, I can see everyone here. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. There's Paul. Yep.
Yes.
I hear squeaking.
Yeah,
Actually,
I know.
Paul-
It's dead people, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
All right,
And Claude, nothing personal, but it's when it switches to you or you talk, I hear this little like crickets type of squeak.
Okay,
You know.
let me do this.
Same with you as well,
I'm going
Paul.
to disappear. I'm going to disappear and come
Now,
back.
hang on, Claude.
Hang on, Claude.
It's happening when Paul's talking to well. I'm going to mute you, Paul.
Okay.
Just for a minute. Okay, guys. Tell us the dirty story or something, Matt.
There was a man from Nantucket.
A dirty story.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's still squeaking, so you can unmute yourself, Paul.
He can't hear you. He's muted.
And now I'll mute you, Matt. Here we go. Yeah, all right, Paul. You can actually talk now while Matt's muted. Somebody make some noise.
Okay.
Well,
Yep. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Maybe
No.
it's too many. Maybe it's too many people on the chat.
No, we had 8 last night. Have a talk to us, Claude.
hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? I got different headphones on right now too. So
All right, I'll have
can you hear me?
No,
I don't
no.
hear the squeak.
no squeaking. I'll have a bit of a talk now. Georgie Porgy Pudding and Pie kissed the girls and made them cry. When the boys come out to play, Georgie kissed them too. He's funny that way. And he's
I bet you were very popular in primary school, weren't you?
all
those flirty little nursery rhymes with all the girls.
You can unmute yourself, Matt. It sounds like it might be coming with you, or when you're. I don't know. Look, who gives it?
Matt, does he know how to unmute himself?
I think so. Matt, there'll be a little arrow above your thumbnail in the chat. Click on that and unmute yourself.
The microphone at the top, and it's red, and you just tap on it.
Yeah, that's the other way. Hover at the top of the screen with your mouse, and
or sometimes you got to go over to the far right and then pull up that.
Okay, I fixed my headphones. Not squeaking, right?
No, yours aren't.
Okay.
Matt has frozen. Matt's frozen.
Oh
no, he's telling you to call him. He doesn't know what the heck to do.
No, you have a look. His hand is frozen at the top of the screen.
I see him moving.
Yeah, he's moving down below there.
Right, hang on a second.
He don't know how to unmute himself, I don't think.
You don't want me to ask Alexa to speak Welsh again, do you, Paul?
That was quite a fiasco yesterday.
Twice a day she comes and tells me to feed Mia.
So, Claude, I see you finally got out to review that action camera yesterday.
Well, kind of, somewhat. You know what? It's where's in the hell is it? It's right here. It's this thing here. I put it on the bike. The stabilization is amazing on this piece of shit. I mean, this camera. The road is actually smoother than it looks in that video. And you could hear the and you hit just a little bump in the there's my review of it. But what I was going to try to do is I got a chest mount and a head mount and a hat mount. I was actually going to try it, put it on my head and see if I get that vibration, see if it got any better. But yeah, it's worth what I paid for it, which is nothing.
Well, the picture looked actually fairly good. The stabilization obviously is terrible, but static, the picture wasn't that bad. I was impressed.
Yeah, I did a shout out to Lloyd one day because of his deal with his wife, and I actually used this to do it. If you use it just for like your B footage or B roll, whatever you call it, or something like that, it's great. But there's definitely no stabilization, and I had it set at 1080p because you can go up to 4K, which I don't think it's a 4K camera, but yeah, it was worth the money. Nothing.
Yeah. What does it go for retail wise?
I think it's like a $50 camera, if that.
Yeah.
So I still got the box right here that it came in. Right there's the box for it, and it's still I figured the GoPro mounting crap. Considering I got a Osmo Action coming, I could probably use all this crap one way or another for that. So that makes it, I guess. You buy the camera, throw it away, and keep the accessories that come with it, and you're further ahead.
I don't know whether you can hear us, Matt. If all else fails, if you can't take the mouse up to the top of the screen and unmute yourself from the drop-down menu, you might have to drop out. Tell me, Paul Murray, has Alexa been counting in Welsh today?
No. She sent me a text message, which I've never had that do it. The text message was, "Knock it off with the funny stuff."
Really? She sent you a text message?
Yeah.
You know, I really
Oh,
like to experiment with like
wow. I just happened to get a video and they're showing that the working the Osmo action from the touch screen on the back, setting it up and all that. Who's doing it? Droning on is doing it. I must have had it running and didn't realize it. So
Well, there's been a tremendous amount of people doing
that,
reviews. Yeah.
Pusa got on it last night, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's been out. Let's let it go on. Let's get back to droning in YouTube.
Well, I promise.
I am so sick. I am so sick of hearing about it.
Well, now you ordered one, didn't you, Claude?
Yeah. It was $372. I ordered it through DJI too. I ordered it direct from them because you can't get.
And it shipped already, right?
Yeah.
And I think every time I've ordered stuff direct from DJI, it's like 3 or 4 days, and you have it, and it's amazing.
Yeah. It was $372 with the insurance on it too. The DJI refresh, they call it.
I promised everybody at the beginning of the stream that the one thing I would not be doing tonight is reviewing the Osmo Action.
There you go.
And you haven't.
No.
But you know what is really cool is this camera here. The stabilization is amazing. The picture quality is not washed out. It is just a wonderful camera to sit on your shelf and look at.
There's still having issues with the video. Look, guys, I cannot tell you why that's happening. I'm seeing everybody, and those of you in the chat are all seeing different people. You're all seeing me, but some people see Paul.
I'm gonna refresh my screen. There, I'm back on you. So what they may want to do is refresh their screens.
Refresh your browser. That's a possibility.
Yeah, because I discovered that when I do the chats too, and I'm kind of doing it is I have to refresh them about every half hour or something like that. So
hey, Ari.
Yes, man.
Here is my version of an Osmo action camera.
Yeah. I would much rather have that than the Osmo Action, honestly.
Sean Hyde's got his for sale, but he's in the United States here because he wants to buy an Osmo Action. Here's my version of an Osmo. There you go. He's got it holding it in his hand there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the picture quality.
Gary's off. All right, Gary, take it easy if you're still here. Sorry, mate, I missed that.
The picture quality on this thing is okay. It's just if you like this going down the road.
Hello, Matt.
Hey.
Theoretically, you should have been able to hover the mouse at the top of the window and the drop-down menu. You should have been able to unmute yourself.
Yeah, if I was on my computer, that would have worked.
You're on a mobile device.
That's what I was saying.
Sorry.
I'm on my phone.
I'm thinking, why does he want me to call him? He knows I haven't got his phone number.
Yeah, no, it actually came up with a little microphone down the bottom of the right-hand side of my screen, and it had the line through it, obviously muted. And you try and push that, nothing. It just doesn't do a thing.
And the funny thing is, and I don't know why, when the stream, the host mutes you, he can't unmute you, which is crazy.
Yeah, but you can kick people out of here too.
Yeah, I know. I need to try that. Hang on.
But you know, when you kick them out, I don't think they can come back even if they have the link.
I'm just going
to make sense.
Oh, the squeak's back.
Yeah, Matt, try turning your volume on the phone down a little bit.
Oh, it's really low.
Okay. I'm presenting Paul Murray to everybody theoretically. So that's one thing. The people in the chat, if they can see Paul, then that's working. Now I'll sort of stop presenting. Yes, very good, Paul. You were in the dramatic arts as a younger man, were you?
Last boy, Yorick.
Okay, and now we're going to. Everyone's going to get to see Matt. You poor bastards. See, don't complain, you Yanks. We take the piss out of each other as well.
We do.
Okay, and now you can all have a look at Hugh. Smile.
There you go. Yep.
Of course, you all say that you can see myself and Paul, so I'll bring the chat back up to the front of my window now, and you can all tell me if you could see everybody. No?
I see everybody at the bottom in the thumbnail.
And did they, when I presented them, did they all come up on screen, Paul?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, do this, Ari. Can anybody see me as I'm talking right now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, does the chat see us as the camera switches? So, you know, ask the chat if they see me right now. Then just go down the line. If it should.
Not on
I see you
YouTube.
on the YouTube channel.
Oh,
okay. Beyond Tree said he can see me. So,
okay. Would you please talk, Hugh? Obviously, it's a bit delayed, but I'm looking at the YouTube feed now.
Yeah, no worries. I'll talk for a second. Yeah, I was seeing Claude for a minute on the video. I'm watching the YouTube feed. I saw you, Ari, then again, but I haven't seen myself yet.
Yeah, I don't see him either. I'm watching the feed, but I know there's a lag.
Mine's changing pretty quick between everyone talking, so there's really no problem there. Here.
Yeah, I just see Claude and Ari. That's all I see on my YouTube feed.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And Ari 616 is here, and he doesn't have a wrench.
I'll fix that.
Actually, while sorry.
It's not switching over to. I see me and you, Ari, and that's it. I didn't see Hugh at all.
I don't know whether I can drop. I'm willing to drop out if I can rejoin. I don't know whether I can do that or not.
Don't do that, because when it would be like me.
Yes, you can.
I don't think the issue is with me somehow, but I don't know.
I had that one day. I think it was YouTube. I would just sit there. I got tired of dealing with it. So if somebody started to talk, I would just highlight their picture. So then they could see them. So I think it's after you've been on YouTube for so long, it just kind of they take a case I don't give us, you know. And
all right, guys, I am going to try and drop out and rejoin. If it all goes to hell in a handbasket, I'll restart the stream.
All right, buddy.
All right, I'll see you shortly with any luck.
Good luck.
Okay, now we can talk about him. Oh shit!
Bloody Australians! Jesus Christ, man!
Oh wait, we got one in the chat. Oh shit!
Take notes while I'm gone, Matt. Take notes while I'm gone, so we know who to take the hit out on.
I will, mate. Don't worry about that.